everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to start your projects without a foundation chain. So why might you need this stitch? Well, a couple reasons probably. First of all, let's say you are chaining, I don't know, your project calls for 200 chain, and then you have to go back and do single crochets on top of all those chain stitches. Well, wouldn't it be better if you could just do all that in one foul swoop instead of having to go back over your chain and put in single crochets? Well, I know I would. That would save me a lot of time. Second of all, what if you've done that and you get to the end of your single crochets and you realize that you've not chained the right amount of your foundation chain? Well, it would have been nice if you did that all in one, then you would know and can actually finish that off without having to take everything out and start over again. The other reason I kind of like the foundationless chains to begin with is if you're going back through and putting things in, sometimes depending on what yarn you're using, if you're going into your foundation chain and putting stitches in there, sometimes those chains can get out of whack and pull, and then you have really uneven foundation chain once you're done putting all your stitches back in there. So I don't like that look either. What I prefer to do is just do it all in one. And you can do this for any project where it calls for the second row or the row after your chain to be all the same stitches across. So for example, if you chain 200 and then your row after that is to put in 200 single crochets or 200 double crochets, half double crochets, whatever the stitch may be. If you have a situation like that, you can do that all in one as opposed to chaining that long chain first. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that with each of the basic stitches. In order to do this, the stitches that you're going to want to be familiar with first would be, of course, your slip knot to put the yarn on your hook. You're going to want to be comfortable with the single crochet, half double crochet, and triple crochet. If you're not, all of those stitches are in my YouTube channel under the basic stitches, and you can take a look at those first. This is a little bit more of an intermediate stitch here, so I would say make sure you're comfortable with all of those before you do a foundationless start to your project. So let's go ahead and start with the foundationless single crochet, and that is how you would see it in a pattern. By the way, you don't have to have it in a pattern to do this. If, like I said, if it calls for a row of foundation row of a bunch of chains, and then your row 2 is all single crochets, you can do this instead. It doesn't have to be just because it's in the pattern that way. But you will often see that in a pattern, and it would, in this case, be called foundationless single crochet. So we're going to start the foundationless single crochet by chaining 2. The first chain is going to be actually the chain for the foundation row, and the second one is going to be for your first single crochet. Now to continue, we are going to insert the hook into that first chain that you made, and then we're going to yarn over as if we're going to do a single crochet. So you have two loops on your hook like you would for a single crochet, but the first thing that we want to do before going on to our single crochet is create the chain for our foundation row. So if you yarn over and go through one, you can see you've just created a chain right here. And if you'll want to know where that chain is, so just keep an eye on where that is. We're actually going to use that chain. So you still have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through both loops, there's your single crochet. Now we're going to do that again. So to do that, we're going to insert into that chain that you just made. So there's that chain that you just made. We're going to insert our hook into that chain. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 2 on your hook again. First thing you're going to do is create your chain. Yarn over, go through 1, there's your chain. Again, since you need to go into that chain when we're done, if it's helpful, put your thumb over it or eyeball it, make sure you know where it is that you did that, because sometimes the stitching can look a little confusing. Yarn over, draw through 2, there's your single crochet. All right, we're going to do that again. Insert your hook into the chain stitch that you just made. There. Yarn over, draw through a loop. There's 2 on the hook. Yarn over, draw through 1. That's your chain. Yarn over, draw through 2. There's your single crochet. Okay? Insert your hook in the chain you just made. Yarn over, drop a loop. 2 on the hook. Yarn over, draw through 1. There's your chain. Draw through 2. There's your single crochet. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So if you take a look at the stitches that you just made, there's your foundation chain at the bottom. So you're actually building your foundation chain at the same time that you do these single crochets that are right on top of it. You're doing it all in one. Saves a lot of time. So now let's go ahead and try this with a half double crochet. So we're going to take this out. And we're going to start with 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. So the first chain is going to be the first stitch of the foundation chain. These 2 are going to be your first half double crochet. If you're more comfortable with only 1 stitch or 1 chain at the beginning for a half double crochet, that's fine too. I kind of like 2. I think it's less tight. All right, so for a half double crochet, we would normally yarn over before we go into our stitch. So we're still going to do that. So yarn over, and now you're going to go into that first chain. Okay, yarn over and draw up a loop, and you have 3 on the hook. And make sure these aren't too tight. I usually, pull a little bit because we have to go back into those chains that we're creating. You don't want it to be too tight. All right, so we have 3 on the hook. First thing you're going to do, create the chain. So yarn over and go through 1. There's your chain. Now you're going to do your half double crochet. And to do a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over and go through all 3. Just like that. Let's do that again. Yarn over, go into that first chain that we just created. There it is. There's that first chain that we just created. Yarn over, drop a loop. We have 3 on the hook. Okay? First thing we do, create the chain. All right? 3 on the hook, yarn over, go through all 3. There's your half double crochet. Yarn over, go into the chain we just created. Okay? Yarn over, drop a loop. Now we're going to create a chain. Yarn over, just go through 1. There's your chain that you're going to use. Yarn over, go through all 3. Oops. And there's your half double crochet. Yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over, go through 1. There's your next chain. Yarn over, go through all 3. There's your half double crochet. Let's take a look. So as you can see, we have our foundation chain being formed at the bottom, and there are our half double crochets. Okay, now we're going to do a foundationless double crochet. So similar to the half double crochet, we're going to start with 3 chain. This will be your first foundation chain. These 2 will be the first double crochet. Yarn over like a double crochet, insert your chain into the hook. Insert your chain into the first stitch. Yarn over, drop a loop. You have 3 on the hook. What's the first thing we need to do? That's right, create your chain. So yarn over and draw through 1 loop. Now you're going to make your double crochet just like normal. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. There's your double crochet. Let's do that again. Yarn over, insert your hook into the chain that we just created. That one wants to be a little difficult. There we go. Yarn over, drop a loop. First thing we do is create the chain. There's the chain. Double crochet, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. Excellent. Let's do that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the chain we just created. See that chain? Yarn over, drop a loop. Let's create the chain first. Now let's do our double crochet. And one more time. Yarn over and insert your hook into the chain you just created. Yarn over, drop a loop. Let's make the chain first. Double crochet. Oops. Oh, for crying out loud. There we go. All right, let's take a look and see what that looks like. So there you go. You've got your chains across the bottom. You have your double crochets here. And your first one here that you created with the chain 2, that would be your first double crochet if you're counting it as your first stitch. That's up to you. And there are your double crochets, all in one. And lastly, we can do this with a triple crochet. Again, I haven't ever used a pattern with a foundationless triple crochet, but it can be done. So instead of 3, we're now going to do 4 at the beginning. That first one is for your chain, and this is the 3 is for your first triple crochet. Just like a triple crochet, yarn over twice, go into the first stitch, the first chain on your hook, yarn over, drop a loop. You should now have 4 loops on your hook. All right, you know it. The first thing we need to do is create a chain. So yarn over and draw through 1, and now you have your first chain. Here's your chain. Remember where it is. Okay, now we have to do the triple crochet. So we're going to yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. Now we're going to yarn over twice, and I had my thumb where that chain was that we just created. So we're going to yarn over and go through twice and go through that chain that we created right there. Yarn over and pull up a loop, and you have 4 on the hook. Create your chain, yarn over and go through 1. There's your chain right there. Okay, now we're going to do your triple crochet. Yarn over and go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. There's your triple crochet. Let's do it again. Yarn over twice, go into your chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 1. There's your next chain. Triple crochet. Okay. You can do this, as you can see, with pretty much any stitch where the row 2 is going to be the same all the way across. It certainly saves you a lot of time, and also, I don't know if you're like me, but I have a hard time counting a really long chain, and it's just easier to do it all in one, and then you have it done. Let's take a look at this triple crochet, foundationless triple crochet. This one looks good as well. There's your foundation chain that you've created along the way at the bottom. Here are all your triple crochets. Here's your first one that we created with that chain 3. And you can do this all the way across. I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, or if there's something else you're looking for, or you need further instruction, please feel free to leave a comment. Thanks, everyone.